Every human being dreams of living a peaceful life. Deep inside, we all long for a way of living where anger, guilt, and shame no longer weigh us down. And if you are someone who wishes for a life filled with calmness and genuine happiness, then this journey is meant for you. As we move forward, you'll discover 10 powerful principles that open the door to inner peace and lasting fulfillment. Along the way, you'll learn what it truly means to keep your heart and mind open to new ideas, new possibilities, and the quiet guidance that life constantly offers. When you follow the passions that call out to you, and when you pay attention to the opportunities that naturally unfold, you begin to move toward the life you were meant to live. At the center of all happiness lies a simple truth. You must learn to love yourself. Real love doesn't begin with someone else. It begins with you, your acceptance, your kindness, and your willingness to treat yourself with the same compassion you offer others. Many people remain trapped in yesterday, unable to let go of old memories or regrets. But inner peace begins the moment you allow the past to loosen its grip and give yourself permission to move forward. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's freeing your heart so you can step into a better tomorrow. Your mindset and your emotions shape the quality of your life far more than you realize. When you learn to think in a healthier way and understand your feelings instead of fighting them, you start to break free from the patterns that hold you back. Release the beliefs that hurt you, loosen your attachment to negativity, and choose a life where joy becomes a natural part of your everyday experience. This is your chance to rise out of the toxic patterns that no longer serve you and begin a new chapter, one that feels lighter, clearer, and more aligned with who you truly are. So let's take the first step together and begin this journey of transformation. Have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. From the moment we are born, we begin absorbing the world exactly as it is presented to us. Long before we learn to think for ourselves, we are shaped by the voices around us: parents, relatives, teachers, society. They tell us how to behave, what to believe, how to see the world, and without realizing it, we accept much of it as truth. This quiet shaping of the mind is what we call conditioning. Take a moment to look at yourself and the life you've lived so far. Do you really believe you reached this point entirely on your own? Of course not. Everyone grows with help, guidance, and influence. Needing support isn't the problem. Being molded so deeply that you stop thinking for yourself is where the real issue begins. In many parts of the world, people are still taught to fear or distrust those who are different from them, whether the difference is culture, religion, or the color of someone's skin. These ideas are not born from personal experiences. They are inherited beliefs passed down through generations. Even though societies have progressed, many people continue to carry old conditioning that keeps them closed and divided. Some conditioning is useful, like learning the difference between right and wrong, or understanding basic values, but not all of it deserves to stay with us forever. A huge part of growing up emotionally and spiritually is learning to recognize which beliefs nurture us and which ones limit our growth. Having an open mind is one of the most powerful ways to invite new experiences into your life. When your thinking becomes rigid or narrow, you begin to feel weighed down and confused because the world around you is constantly changing, while you are not. If more people allowed themselves to be flexible and curious, many of the problems that trouble humanity today would slowly lose their power. But change becomes difficult when someone holds on tightly to the ideas they were raised with and refuses to adapt. A closed mind affects you far more than you think. You might believe that being stubborn is harmless, but the truth is, stubbornness often closes doors before you even realize they existed. Sometimes we are taught to keep our expectations low so we won't be disappointed. Maybe this mindset protected you once, but it will never help you rise to your full potential. When you expect very little from life, you unknowingly limit what life can give you. You do only the minimum, nothing more. But success requires something extra, an openness to possibilities, a willingness to try, fail, learn, and grow. Without that openness, countless opportunities pass you by without ever being noticed. So how do you open your mind? The first step is letting go of the ego. The constant need to be right is one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and peace. Most of our conflicts arise not from truth, but from pride. When you soften your ego and allow new ideas to enter, life becomes lighter. Victory stops mattering so much, and growth becomes more important. The second step is calming your mind. Not every disagreement needs a battle. If your conditioning consistently pushes you into arguments, maybe it's time to question that conditioning. A successful life is not just about achievements, it is also about inner quietness. You don't need to live according to society's noise or follow its pressure to prove yourself. A beautiful paradox of life is that when you expect less, life often surprises you with more. The more you try to control everything around you, the more frustrated you become. But when you open your heart, loosen your grip, and allow life to unfold, peace begins to enter on its own. Keep your mind open to possibilities, to new perspectives, to new versions of yourself. When you cling too tightly to your beliefs, you stop seeing the world as it truly is. But when you detach, when you stay curious instead of defensive, the path to inner peace and success becomes clear. The journey begins with openness, and from there, everything else slowly falls into place. You can't give away what you don't have. Every person in this world longs for love. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. There isn't a single human being who doesn't desire to feel loved, valued, and cared for. Love is one of the purest, simplest, and most beautiful emotions we can experience. Wanting it is completely natural. But there's a truth we often forget. You cannot receive what you're not willing to give. If you want love to flow toward you, you must learn how to let it flow out from within you first. You've probably heard the saying, you can't give away something you don't have. And it's true. If your heart is empty, how can you offer anyone warmth or kindness? If you don't feel worthy yourself, how can you expect someone else to see your worth? The solution begins with turning inward and learning to love yourself genuinely, patiently, and without conditions. Creating love within yourself isn't something that happens overnight. It requires a shift in mindset, a change in attitude, and sometimes a complete re-examination of how you've been living. Everything in your outer life begins with what you carry inside. Your behavior, your reactions, your choices, all of them are shaped by your emotions, and your emotions are shaped by the thoughts you entertain every single day. When your thinking becomes negative, your behavior follows. But when your thoughts turn toward kindness, hope, and acceptance, you begin to feel lighter from the inside. A positive outlook naturally opens the door to better emotions. You start to feel happier, and slowly you begin to spread that happiness to the people around you. The energy you give out is the energy you invite back into your life. When positivity radiates from within, you will notice how the world starts responding to you in a gentler, more loving way. This is the practical expression of that simple principle. You can only give what you already possess. So if you want love, joy, or kindness, you must first nurture those qualities inside yourself. Becoming kinder and more loving toward yourself sets you on the path to inner peace. When you stop criticizing yourself and start treating yourself with compassion, you'll notice something powerful. Your relationships begin to change. People respond differently because you are different. Life reflects back what you project. If everything around you feels negative, it may be time to pause and look within, because the world often becomes a mirror of our inner state. Now that you understand why creating love inside yourself matters, the next step is learning how to build it. There isn't a single formula that works for everyone. You must choose what feels right for your heart. Explore the activities that bring you joy, comfort, or stillness. Set aside time, not for work, not for responsibilities, but simply for yourself. Even a small moment of relaxation can become an act of self-love. If you're unsure where to begin, take 10 minutes each day for meditation or gentle yoga. Spending time alone with your breath and your thoughts helps you see your life more clearly. Meditation quiets the mind, and in that quiet, you begin to understand yourself in a deeper way. The most important part of this journey is consistency. Self-love is not a one-time event. It is a habit, a gentle practice you return to again and again. When you make these moments of care a regular part of your life, cultivating a positive mindset becomes much easier. And once you strengthen yourself from within, negativity from the outside world begins to lose its power over you. Love grows when you nurture it. And when you carry that love inside you, you'll find that you always have something beautiful to give. Give up your personal history. Imagine yourself steering a speedboat across a wide, open stretch of water. As the boat cuts forward, it leaves behind a long trail of white foam. Now ask yourself, what is that trail really doing? Does it push the boat forward? Does it guide the direction in which you move? Of course not. The wake behind the boat is simply a memory, a mark left on the surface to show where you once were, nothing more. In this picture, you are the speedboat, and the foamy trail is your past. It doesn't define who you are or what you're capable of becoming. It only shows where you've been and the experiences you've already lived through. Many people never reach the peace or love they desire, not because they don't deserve it, but because they aren't open to receiving it. To find peace, you must make peace not only with your life as it is now, but also with everything that has already happened. The problem arises when we cling too tightly to the wake behind us, focus too much on the past, and you drift farther and farther from the life waiting for you today. If you truly want success and inner calm, you must be willing to leave yesterday where it belongs. You are not defined by the choices you made years ago. You are shaped by the choices you make now, today, in this very moment. This doesn't mean you must erase your past or pretend it never happened. Your history is valuable. It holds your lessons, your growth, your victories, and even your pain. Forgetting it completely would be like losing a part of your own identity. The point is not to abandon it, but to stop living in it. You cannot rewrite what has already taken place, so the wisest thing you can do is look ahead and keep moving. Your past is a symbol, an archive of the storms you survived and the milestones you reached. Instead of drowning in it, embrace it with honesty. A healthy understanding of your history can help you recognize patterns, decisions, and small turning points you may want to change as you step into your future. Life gives you only one real moment, and that moment is now. Yet most of us spend our days pulled between yesterday and tomorrow. We worry about what happened, or we lose ourselves planning what might happen, what to cook for dinner, what to do during the next holiday, what problem might appear next month. Planning is useful, but when your mind is constantly racing ahead, the present moment slips away unnoticed. Your today deserves just as much attention as your past or future. When you stop living in the moment, you lose the ability to enjoy the life that is actually unfolding in front of you. There's something else about personal history that often goes unnoticed. It can trap you inside old versions of yourself. Maybe in the past, you were careless, impatient, or unkind, and now you've quietly accepted those traits as unchangeable labels. But your history does not get to decide who you can become. You are not limited by your mistakes, nor are you bound to repeat them. Human beings are built for change. You are fully capable of evolving, growing, and redefining yourself. Open your mind to who you could be. Don't let the opinions of others or the shadows of your past dictate your future. Your truth is not who you were. Your truth is who you choose to become. And the only person with the power to shape your future is you. You can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. Have you ever noticed how people raised in different environments often grow up with completely different belief systems? What feels normal to one person can seem unusual or even wrong to someone else. And yet, neither person is necessarily right or wrong. Their beliefs are simply reflections of the world they grew up in. Our upbringing shapes how we see everything. The world itself isn't good or bad. The paths we choose aren't perfectly right or completely wrong. We judge situations only through the lens society has handed to us. We call something good when it benefits us, and the moment it stops serving us, we label it bad. Meaning doesn't exist in the world on its own. We create meaning through our thoughts. Your mindset deeply influences the quality of your life. If your thinking leans toward negativity, your experiences will feel heavier than they actually are. Many of the problems we face are not created by events themselves, but by the way we interpret them. When things don't go as we imagined, we decide they are failures or obstacles, and that decision shapes our emotional experience. To truly solve a problem, you must go deeper than the situation. You must reach the mindset that produced it. Often, the root of the problem is not what happened, but how you're choosing to view it. Think about a relationship. There are days when you focus only on what your partner does wrong. The more attention you give to their flaws, the more frustrated and distant you become. It starts to feel like nothing they do is good enough. You begin imagining life without them, convinced that the relationship is falling apart. But when you shift your attention and remember the kindness they've shown, the support they've offered, or the moments they've made you smile, something surprising happens. Your emotions soften. Gratitude takes the place of irritation. The relationship feels completely different, even though nothing external has changed. Only your mindset has. This idea applies to life as well. When you're faced with a challenge, try viewing it from another angle. Ask yourself what perspective needs to change, what expectation needs to soften, or what belief you need to release. As soon as your perspective shifts, many problems become lighter and easier to handle. Sometimes, the only thing standing between you and a solution is the way you're thinking. Changing your perspective is like stepping from one level of understanding to another. The problems you face mirror the level of consciousness you're currently at. And as your awareness expands, life begins to feel different, not because the world has changed, but because you have. Awareness has 3 levels. The first level is the ego. This is where most people begin. On this level, You see life only from the surface. You constantly compare yourself with others, measuring your worth through achievements, praise, or external success. Your happiness depends on how well you seem to be doing in the eyes of the world. The second level is group consciousness. Here, you start caring not just about yourself, but about the people you identify with, your community, your family, your circle. Your sense of self expands, and you begin to see your life as part of something larger. The final and highest level is mystical consciousness. At this level, your awareness goes beyond me and my group. You begin to experience a sense of unity with everyone. You understand that all humans share the same fears, dreams, and desires. Compassion, not comparison, becomes your natural response. You stop looking at the world through the narrow window of ego and start seeing it with openness and understanding. When you rise to this level of consciousness, your problems lose their heaviness, and solutions become clearer. You no longer try to fix life with the same rigid mindset that created your pain in the first place. Instead, you step into a new way seeing, a place where peace, clarity, and insight naturally flow. There are no justified resentments. Think about a time when you were so angry at someone that you snapped at them without a second thought. We've all been there. In those moments, we convince ourselves that everyone else deserves our anger. Everyone except us. But what if the truth is that no amount of anger is ever truly justified? No matter how badly someone behaves, responding with rage or hurting them in return never brings real peace. It only keeps the fire burning inside you. This idea may sound uncomfortable at first, so let's explore it more deeply. Resentment is simply anger that has been stored away. It grows when you blame others for what's happening in your life. Imagine your flight gets delayed or you miss an important meeting. Feeling frustrated is natural, but turning that frustration into hostility, snapping at airline staff or taking it out on strangers, is misplaced. They didn't create the situation. The blame you direct outward becomes the resentment you carry inward. And what does resentment actually do for you? Nothing helpful. It doesn't solve problems or make your life better. Instead, it weighs on you, limits your growth, and blocks any chance of finding clarity. So how do you let go of resentment? The first step is to stop blaming others. Take responsibility for your own choices and accept what is happening instead of fighting it. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim, your entire emotional landscape begins to change. You realize you're stronger and far more capable than you once believed. And from that strength, you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems. The next step is to bring as much love and compassion as you can into your daily life. Respond to situations with kindness rather than judgment. If you want peace and happiness, you must first become the source of it. Whatever you give, you eventually receive. Most of us don't realize how often we complain. Miss the bus? We complain. Misplace the keys? We complain. Tiny inconveniences become reasons for irritation, simply because complaining has become a comfortable habit. But when you try, even gradually, to shift your attention from what's wrong to what's right, something extraordinary begins to happen. Life feels lighter. You feel lighter. When you let situations control your emotions, you give away your power. You stop responding with clarity and begin reacting from pain. But when you refuse to let your emotions take over, an inner stillness emerges. From that calm place, success feels easier, life feels smoother, and peace becomes a constant presence rather than a rare moment. And the most powerful way to release resentment is forgiveness. Forgive the people who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness is not about erasing what happened. It is about releasing the emotional weight you've been carrying for far too long. When you forgive, you loosen the grip of negativity in your heart. You create space for joy, for healing, for a life that is fuller and far happier. Letting go is not weakness, it is strength. And the moment you release resentment, you take a step toward a life where peace feels natural, not forced. Wisdom is avoiding all thoughts that weaken you. Your thoughts are far more powerful than you realize. They don't just influence how you feel mentally, they also affect your physical strength and energy. To understand this, imagine a simple experiment. Lift one of your arms straight out to the side until it forms a 90-degree angle with your body. Hold it there firmly. Now ask a friend to try pushing your arm down while you resist with all your strength. As you do this, try two different thoughts. First, think of a lie, any lie. Something small that you've hidden from others or something you know isn't true. Then, think of something real, an honest thought, something you believe with complete certainty. If you pay close attention, you'll notice a clear difference. When you think of the lie, your energy seems to collapse inward. Your body weakens, your arm feels heavier, and you can't resist the pressure as strongly. But when truth fills your mind, when your thoughts are sincere, you feel steadier, stronger, more capable of holding your arm up. This isn't magic. It's a principle supported by research, especially in Dr. David Hawkins' well-known work, Power versus Force. According to his findings, power rises from positive emotions, love, honesty, courage, hope. These qualities strengthen you from within. Force, on the other hand, comes from negative thoughts, anger, shame, guilt, fear. Whenever you hide something or act from a place of dishonesty, you drain your own energy. Think about athletes during a competition. Their mindset can directly influence their physical performance. When their minds are filled with forceful thoughts, pressure, fear of losing, desperation to beat someone, they tense up. Their bodies become rigid, weaker, and less responsive. But when they focus on empowering thoughts, improving their own game, enjoying the moment, trusting their preparation, their muscles loosen, their energy increases, and they perform with far more strength and clarity. So what exactly are forceful thoughts? These are thoughts fueled by negativity and by the need to control outcomes. When your mind becomes obsessed with defeating someone, proving something, or forcing a result, you unintentionally weaken yourself. Shame, guilt, and emotional numbness are also forms of force. Think of a moment when embarrassment froze you completely. You couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't act. That paralysis came from your thoughts, not from your body. Your mind had overpowered your strength. Powerful thoughts are the opposite. They are not about the opponent or the external world. They are about you. They focus on growth rather than fear, improvement rather than comparison. Athletes who think about becoming a better version of themselves, who focus inward rather than outward, tend to perform far better. Their energy rises instead of shrinking. Joyful and passionate thoughts are also powerful thoughts. They shift your attention from what's wrong to what's possible. They remind you of your purpose, your potential, and your inner light. And when you think this way, something remarkable happens. Your body responds. Your physical strength increases. Your energy expands. You become more capable, more alive, more centered. Wisdom lies in choosing thoughts that lift you, not thoughts that drain you. When you fill your mind with honesty, purpose, passion, and joy. You invite a strength into your life that no external force can match. Don't die with your music still in you. Inside every human brain, there are two distinct halves, the left hemisphere and the right. The left side is the logical one. It analyzes, plans, evaluates risks, and helps us make practical decisions about the future. It chooses the safe road, the predictable outcome, the option that seems sensible. The right side, however, speaks a different language. It's enthusiastic, intuitive, imaginative. It nudges us toward things we might not normally dare to do. When you feel a quiet pull in your chest, a whisper that says, "This is what you're meant to do," that's your right brain, the voice of your heart. Why does this matter? Because understanding how your brain works helps you understand how you make decisions. Most people spend their lives listening only to logic. They choose the options that look sensible on paper and avoid anything that feels risky or uncertain. But have you ever wanted to try something that scared you a little, yet felt absolutely right? In those moments, it's your intuitive side calling you. And that is the side we often need to trust more. Your intuitive mind already knows your purpose. It sees paths that your logical mind can't. It sometimes pushes you toward decisions that feel challenging, uncomfortable, or even frightening, but they lead to the life you're meant to live. Your purpose is rarely the easiest choice, but when your heart urges you to move, it is always guiding you toward something meaningful. Instead of silencing it, try listening. You may be astonished at the places it takes you, yet most people avoid risks. They cling to comfort because it feels safe, but comfort rarely creates anything extraordinary. When we live entirely inside our comfort zone, we stop growing. We lose touch with the deeper calling within us, and slowly, without realizing it, many people allow their gifts, their dreams, and their potential to fade away, never expressed, never shared. So ask yourself, would you rather live an easy, predictable life without ever tasting true joy and fulfillment? Or would you rather follow the path that awakens your passion and discover what it truly means to feel alive? The road toward what you love will not always be clear. It may twist and curve. It may demand courage. But when you walk it, you become an inspiration because you're living with authenticity. The first step is discovering what fills your heart with passion, what excites you, what makes you feel alive. Once you find that, you can share your music with the world. People don't avoid their dreams because they don't know what they want. They avoid them because they're afraid. Fear of failure stops them before they even begin. Whenever we find ourselves in unfamiliar territory, fear whispers, "What if you fail?" And we freeze, convinced we shouldn't move forward. But failure is not real. It is nothing more than a story, a belief we've been taught. In truth, there is no failure in this world. There are only mistakes, and every mistake carries a lesson. Every lesson moves you one step closer to the life that is waiting for you. Learning is never a setback. It is a map. It guides you, redirects you, and shapes you into the person you need to become. So the next time you feel afraid to take a chance, think about the future version of yourself, the one who followed the dream, the one who dared to step forward. What's the worst that can happen? You learn something. And that is never as frightening as staying where you are and letting your music die inside you. Embrace silence. In this fast-moving world, true peace feels like a rare gift, something only a few people ever experience. Most of us barely have time for ourselves. We rush from one task to another, trying to juggle everything at once, trapped in a schedule that drains us without giving us space to breathe. But there comes a moment when you must step out of this noise and choose quietness. That is when the journey toward inner peace truly begins. Silence is something we've almost forgotten. We spend our days surrounded by sound, our own voices, other people's voices, the endless chatter of the world. After a while, we lose touch with what silence even feels like. Some people dislike sitting quietly because it makes them feel lonely. Others love listening to the soft sounds of nature when they're alone, like birds singing or the breeze moving through leaves. But whether silence comforts you or feels unfamiliar, one thing is certain: everyone needs it. And if you're searching for peace, silence is not optional. It's essential. Silence is often underestimated because we live in a culture that worships productivity. We believe we must always do more, achieve more, stay busy. But spending time quietly is also a form of productivity, one that nourishes your clarity instead of exhausting your energy. Sitting alone with your thoughts gives you space to reflect on your life without distraction. Every day, countless thoughts move through your mind. It's no surprise that you often feel confused, irritated, or stressed. Silence doesn't erase your thoughts, but it softens the time you spend reacting to them. When you allow yourself moments of stillness, you begin to understand your thoughts instead of being overwhelmed by them. Silence is the first doorway to peace. Without it, living a calm life becomes almost impossible. Embracing silence doesn't mean shutting out the world completely. It simply means learning to live without noise for a few minutes each day. Meditation is one of the easiest ways to experience silence. When you sit quietly with your mind, you begin organizing your thoughts instead of letting them control you. You can start small, just 5 minutes a day in a quiet corner or meditation room. Over time, you'll naturally increase these moments because your mind will begin craving them. The key is consistency. Once sitting quietly becomes a daily habit, you'll realize you can find silence almost anywhere, no matter where you are. Whenever you feel stressed, step aside briefly and spend a few minutes alone. When your mood feels heavy or your mind feels clouded, take that moment of silence before making decisions. This simple act protects you from reacting impulsively and helps you make choices with clarity rather than pressure. Silence clears your thoughts so you can see your options more wisely, and the benefits don't stop with you. When you cultivate silence in your life, your presence begins to change. You think differently. Your attitude becomes softer. You become kinder, calmer, and lighter inside. People around you can feel this shift. They sense the peace within you, and it naturally brings peace into your environment as well. Instead of getting irritated easily, you learn to handle situations with patience and ease. Silence is not emptiness. It is a gentle space where your mind can breathe, your heart can settle, and your life can realign itself. Embrace it, and you'll discover a deeper calm than the world ever taught you to expect. Treat yourself as if you already are what you'd like to be. Think back to a dream you once held, something you deeply wanted, yet quietly believed might never happen. Maybe it felt too big, too far away, or simply impossible. Many people carry such dreams in their hearts, but very few fully commit to bringing them to life. In this chapter, we learn how to work toward our dreams, not just through effort, but through the right mindset. Your thoughts and beliefs play a far greater role in shaping your life than you might imagine. Whenever you tell yourself, "This is impossible," you create your own defeat long before you even begin. Failure doesn't come from lack of effort or from the difficulty of the goal. It begins the moment your mind gives up. Your body can only follow where your mind leads. Success begins in your thoughts. When you convince yourself that you are capable, when you condition your mind to believe that you can achieve anything, you shift your entire inner world. The most effective way to succeed is to treat yourself as if you have already become the person you want to be. You may wonder why this mindset is necessary. The first reason is courage. No risk can be taken without it. When you believe in yourself, your fear becomes quieter. You push through limits you once thought were unbreakable. You stay motivated, inspired, and determined to continue even when the path gets difficult. The second reason is the law of attraction, the idea that whatever energy you put out into the universe is the energy that returns to you. When you act as though you already have what you desire, your thoughts and actions align with that reality. Slowly, life begins rearranging itself to support your intention. You activate the forces around you and within you, turning them in your favor. So how do you begin living this way? The first step is to declare your intention. Instead of feeling sad about what you lack, speak confidently to the universe about what you are moving toward. Declare that you will reach your goal, that the life you want is already on its way to you. This shift in attitude changes everything. You stop focusing on what is missing and start focusing on what is possible. And this applies not only to material goals, but also to personal transformation. After declaring your intention, the next step is to see yourself as already becoming that person. Imagine your future in detail and begin to step into it mentally. If you dream of owning a car, visualize yourself driving it. If you can, take a picture with the car you want and place it somewhere you'll see it every day. By doing this, you train your subconscious mind to accept this vision as your reality. And once your mind accepts it, it begins working quietly and powerfully to bring it into your life. When you treat yourself as though you already are what you hope to become, the world responds. Opportunities appear. Your confidence grows. You stop walking toward your dream and start walking from it, as if it has already welcomed you home. Treasure your divinity. Every human being carries something sacred within them. We may call it soul, spirit, inner light, or simply our true nature. But whatever name we choose, it connects us to something greater than ourselves. We all come from that divine source, and we carry a piece of it within us. Yet somewhere along the way, many of us forget this truth and drift away from who we really are. When people lose touch with their inner divinity, they also disconnect from their own mind and heart. They begin living life only through the surface, chasing routines, desires, achievements, while ignoring the deeper voice within. They shut out the very force that could guide them toward peace, clarity, and purpose. Most people who lose this connection do so because their ego becomes too loud. Ego is built from the things we think define us: our accomplishments, our possessions, our titles, our identities. When ego is in control, trust becomes difficult. Fear and insecurity take root. Negative emotions multiply. The ego convinces you that you are the center of the universe, that only you matter, and that everyone else is competition. It pushes you into a constant state of comparison, making you feel like the world is against you. Over time, this drains your energy. Living on high alert, always defensive, always proving yourself, slowly wears you down. One of the most damaging illusions created by the ego is the belief that you are separate from everyone else. When you see yourself as separate, You naturally care less about others. You become trapped in stress and negativity because you are constantly measuring your worth against the world. So how do you protect yourself from the ego and live a healthier, more peaceful life? You turn toward your divinity. Your divinity is the source of your strength. It is the state in which you feel most deeply connected to life, to love, to the universe, and if you believe in a higher power, to that higher presence as well. When you remember that you are made of something sacred, you begin to see the sacredness in others too. Embracing your divinity helps you recognize that you are not separate from the world, you are part of it. The people around you stop appearing as competitors or threats. Instead, you begin to see them as fellow travelers in this shared human journey. From this place, kindness comes naturally. Compassion becomes effortless. Your inner goodness rises to the surface. Peace and happiness come from within. When your heart is calm, life feels lighter. When you acknowledge the divine spark within you, you automatically draw more positive energy into your life. The ego slowly loosens its grip because it cannot survive in the presence of humility, love, and inner truth. Deep inside, you are far more powerful, wise, and connected than you think. Treasure that divinity. Protect it. Let it guide you. When you honor the sacredness within yourself, your entire life begins to transform. Conclusion. As you reach the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. You've discovered that keeping your mind open invites possibilities you may never have imagined before. You've understood that love can only flow toward you when you are willing to let it flow from you first. And you've learned that living in the past steals the beauty of the present, offering nothing but emotional weight. You now know that most of life's struggles don't come from what happens to you, but from the thoughts you attach to those events. Even anger, no matter how justified it feels, only pushes peace further away. Choosing understanding over resentment frees you from a burden you were never meant to carry. Along the way, you've seen the difference between force and power, how negativity weakens you from the inside, while honesty, joy, and purpose strengthen you in ways the world can feel. You've been reminded of the importance of taking risks, of stepping beyond comfort, and of daring to follow the dreams that once felt too distant. You've also rediscovered the value of silence, that gentle space where the mind settles and the heart finds clarity. And you've seen how acting like the person you aspire to become opens doors you didn't know existed. When you walk with belief instead of doubt, life responds with opportunities. Finally, you've learned the importance of reconnecting with your inner divinity, your deepest truth. That connection softens the ego, strengthens your spirit, and reminds you that you are never separate from the world around you. As you begin to reshape your life, remember to stay conscious and aware. Old habits have a way of pulling you back, so guard your growth with intention. Become a little better every day. The path to success and happiness is rarely easy, but it is always worth it. Apply these principles gently, consistently, and with an open heart. Let your mind settle into stillness. Let your spirit stay hopeful and become a light for others in difficult times. Your life can transform in extraordinary ways, one peaceful, courageous step at a time. Thank you for spending your time with this audiobook summary. I hope the ideas from 10 Secrets for Success and Inner Peace encourage you to slow down, look within, and create a life that feels calm, purposeful, and truly your own. If any part of this summary touched you or shifted your perspective, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts or the changes you plan to make in the comments. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. If you feel this video could help a friend or a family member, please pass it along. Every like, comment, and share helps this channel reach more people who enjoy learning and growing through powerful books like this one. Thank you once again for being a part of Audiobook 101. Stay mindful, stay curious, and keep taking steps toward the best version of yourself. I'll see you in the next summary.